Hello everyone, this is Brain Booster Sujata and today we are going to learn the subchapter of the history, the French Revolution and the idea of the nation, which is the subchapter of the class 10th history's first chapter, the rise of nationalism in Europe. In this subchapter, you have to understand that French Revolution was the separate thing and the idea of nation was the separate thing. But the result of both was the same, that was the nationalism and the struggle for the nation. So the first clear expression of nationalism came with the French Revolution in 1789 because during that period France was a full-fledged territorial state and was ruled by the absolute monarchs during the period of 1789. So during that period, as the ideas of nationalism developed, people began to come together and as a result, political and constitutional changes took place in the France. In the wake of the French Revolution, it led to the transfer of sovereignty from the monarchy to a body of French citizens. It means in the initial period, France was ruled by the monarchs, but now the power was controlled by the common people. So it was a transfer of a sovereignty from the monarchy to a body of French citizens. From the very beginning of the French Revolution, French revolutionaries had introduced various measures and practices in the France that could create a sense of collective identity among the French people. Means various different ideas were used, such as the idea of la patrie. La patrie means the fatherland. It means people did not only feel their country as a land, it was like a fatherland for these people. Next idea they utilized, it was the les citoyens. What was les citoyens? The citizens. It means they are the citizens of the same country, France. They introduced the idea of la patrie. It means France is their fatherland. And the idea of les citoyens means the people of the France are the citizens of the France which can or which are the united community and can enjoy the equal rights under the new constitution. Also, the revolutionaries introduced the new French flag, which was designed in the tricolor, which was chosen to replace the former royal standard. Then, state generals were also elected by the body of active citizens and renamed themselves as a National Assembly. It means this National Assembly was formed by the process of election through the common people. During the same time, to develop the nationalism, new hymns means patriotic songs were composed, oaths were taken, and martyrs were commemorated. And all this was done to develop the nationalism by the name of nation. Then a centralized administrative system was put into the place and it formulated the uniform laws for all the citizens within its territory, means equal laws for all. Internal custom duties and dues were also abolished, and a uniform system of weights and measure was adopted in the France specially. After that, regional dialects in the various parts of the France, which were used by the common people as their mother tongue, were discouraged, and French language was spoken and written in the Paris. So the French language became the common language of the nation in the France. Further, it was declared by the French revolutionaries that it was the mission and the destiny of the French nation to liberate all people of the Europe from the despotism. In order, in other words, we can say to help the other people of Europe to become the nations. Next, we will talk about the impact of revolution on the France and its cities. So, as the news of these revolutionary events spread into the France, it reached in the different cities of European countries too. Students and other members of the educated middle classes began to setting up their Jacobin clubs. Jacobin clubs means what? Their political associations they began to form. Their activities, their campaigns were prepared the way for the French armies which moved into the Holland. Means this Jacobin it means these Jacobin clubs did not form only the political associations but also form their own armies. Further, these armies moved from Holland Belgium, Switzerland, and much part of the Italian states also in 1790s. As the Revolutionary Wars broke out into the France, the French armies began to carry out the idea of nationalism in other European countries. It means the idea of nationalism did not remain limited to the France only, it spread throughout the Europe. As the Revolutionary Wars broke out into the France, Napoleon rose into the power and controlled the polity of the France. As Napoleon came into the power, he destroyed the democracy and restored the monarchy in the France. Within a very short time, he brought a largest area of the European continent under his control and set about introducing many of the reforms that he had already introduced in France. No doubt he destroyed the democracy and restored the monarchy. But in the administrative field, he had incorporated the revolutionary principles so that he introduced the Civil Code of 1804, which is usually known as the Napoleonic Code. He introduced Napoleonic Code to make the whole system more rational and efficient in France. So, what was the Civil Code of 1804 or the Napoleonic Code? So, it was nothing different, but it was the law made by the Napoleon. According to this new law, the privileges which were given to the clergy and nobility based on their birth, all these privileges were gave up, they were abolished. Second reformation was that it established the equality before the law and secured the right to property for everyone equally in the France. Third was that this code means Civil Code of 1804 was exported to the regions under the French control means implemented in all the regions which were controlled by the France by also Napoleon simplified the administrative system administrative divisions, especially in the Dutch Republic, in the Switzerland, in Italy, in the Germany also. Also abolished the feudal system and freed the peasant of these regions from the serfdom system and from the manorial due systems. In the towns also, which were the guild restrictions over the import and export or on the trade, they were also abolished. Transport and communication systems were improved as the Civil Code of 1804 or the Napoleonic Code was implemented strictly by the Napoleon, it had a greater impact over the France. So what was the impact of this Civil Code of 1804? Let's see. As the guild restrictions over the trade were removed in the cities and the towns, it led to the improvement in the transport and communication systems. Peasant, artisans, workers, and new businessmen enjoy this new freedom. It benefited to their business. Businessmen, small scale producers of the goods in a particularly began to realize that uniform laws, standardized weights and measures, and common regional currency would facilitate the movement and exchange the goods and capital from one region to another region. During the Napoleonic period, he brought the largest area of the European continent under his control and established his administrative system. So, what were the reactions of the common or the local populations to the French rule or to the Napoleonic rule? Their reactions were mixed. In initial period, people of the Holland, Switzerland, Brussels, Mainz, Milan, Warsaw were especially happy with the administrative changes which were brought by the Napoleon. But soon their enthusiasm turned into hostility. How it became? First of all, they thought that Napoleon and his administrative systems are the harbingers of liberty. Harbingers of liberty, it means he is the savior of the liberty and will protect the people from the European attack. The second thing that made the people disappointed about the Napoleon and his administrative reformations were that the new administrative arrangement that he did in the France did not go in hand with the political freedom because one side he gave a freedom to the trade, import, export, to the businessmen, to the producers, but on the other side he also increased the taxes. imposed the censorship over the media. Also, people of the France were forcefully recruited in the French armies. Why they were recruited in the French armies? They were recruited into the French armies to conquer the rest of the Europe, and so that all the reformations he did one side, but whatever forceful things he did over the people, those all those things made the people disappointed for his reformations and his Napoleonic power. So at the end of this chapter, we have to conclude that the different type of ideas which were used by the French revolutionaries like la patrie, les citoyens, then equal rights, new constitution, then state generals were elected by the common people. It was declared as a national assembly. Then you will find out that there was a uniform laws also, and the newly established Jacobin clubs, their work, then Napoleonic Code, his power, his administrative system, all those things help in the France as well as in the European countries to develop the ideas of nationalism among the people. Thank you.